points. The Denard Robinson and Storm Johnson show.
Storm Johnson.
Denard Robinson going to be a hot name off waivers this week. Watch out.
Storm Johnson sounds like the alter ego of a superhero.
Yeah, Denard Robinson, man. You know, I actually, when I did the report this week, which again, to all you listeners out there, is on the homepage of thefantasygreek.com, our waiver report, I felt compelled to talk about something which bugs me as an analyst and has to drive fans crazy vis-a-vis me as an analyst, people like me as an analyst. How can we sit there and 1 week say go get Storm Johnson and then the next week say go get Denard Robinson?
You can't.
Well, yeah. but I have. I mean, last week Storm Johnson was the flavor of the week for the Jaguars. I mean, all indications were he's the guy that they were going to go forward with, and suddenly you get Denard Robinson towards the end of the week getting the start. And when I say at the end of the week, I mean maybe Friday, Saturday. I mean, just something crazy like that, and you're like, okay. I'm not going to tell anybody to run out and get him because, one, he hasn't been very effective in the past. Mm-hmm. And two, what does getting the start mean anymore? Nothing. Especially for the Jaguars.
Nothing these days.
Nothing. So now you get him. He gets what, like 20 carries? 22, I think. That's impressive. That's a number that you can work with and go, hey, this is what a lead running back gets.
Right.
And they must like him. And certainly the numbers he put up were very likable.
He averaged almost 6 yards a carry.
Right.
And Cleveland's defense is not anything to sneeze at.
Right. So what in essence happens, and this is the thing, we can't control coaches. We have absolutely no idea what they're thinking unless they tell us or do something through their actions. And then we expect them to act logically and reasonably. So to suddenly jump from Storm Johnson to Denard Robinson was sort of, wow, okay, where's that coming from? And the other thing we can't control is the waiver wire. The waiver wire for running backs is so thin that you almost have to talk about some of these on-the-edge rushers because people are looking for help. I needed help this past week in one of my leagues because I've been just riddled with injuries and then bye weeks. Suddenly I'm running out to go get Trey Mason. And thank God, because Trey Mason had a great game, 85 yards and a touchdown.
I did that this week. I traded Alshon Jeffrey for Lamar Miller and what was one of the wide receivers on the Giants? But I needed a running back.
But I feel like I've heard this before. Was this the one, Keith?
Well, yeah, we talked about it on the fantasy show because I called it a trade rape.
Yeah, and I believe it worked out for week one very well.
Yeah.
Since Alshon Jeffrey got 0.9 points and Lamar Miller got 14 points.
Yeah, it worked all right. I have forfeited the ability to criticize anybody's fantasy football team, transactions, philosophy, because I am now on a...
Are you saying that because I'm on a 4-game winning streak and you're officially now on a 4-game losing streak?
Yep. Yes, I am.
That's what I thought.
I started out 3-0, and I am now 3-4. And it coincides with when I traded for Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
It made total sense.
Listening to you guys.
It made total sense.
Listening to you guys.
I'm sorry. All right, we're getting off track here.
No, I can't help it.
You know, we need to. Don't we need to sort of move on to next week?
Yeah, we will. Let's take a break, reset our brains. One we'll do a 4-minute break, and when we come back, Week 8 in the NFL, we'll update our pick standings now that the Houston Texans have lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're listening to 87 Sports Fans Live on Late Night Sports Radio.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Put the body in motion. Get up, get up, put the body in motion. Get up, put the body in motion. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Get up, put the body in motion.
87 Sports Fans live on Late Night Sports Radio. Keith Grieve and Steve Taylor from 87sportsfans.com, joined by Jim Saranteas, the Fantasy Greek himself, from thefantasygreek.com. Follow him on Twitter at thefantasygreek. Reminder that this and every broadcast is brought to you by CG Imaging. That's cg-imaging.com. CG Imaging, virtually creating reality. And also by The Lockbox by Mr. Stephen Taylor, a spy thriller available for digital download and paperback orders on barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. The Lockbox by Stephen Taylor. All right, we just pretty much beat last week up to death. And now it's officially in the books with the Houston Texans not able to come back against the Pittsburgh Steelers, blowing a 13-0 lead to the once beleaguered Steelers. And now the Steelers join the realm of the unpredictable. There's a lot of that in the NFL this season, I want to say. So, where do we stand? Well, Steve and Jim win the week 10-5 last week. And the only game...
Congratulations, Steve.
You too, sir.
The only game we differed on was I picked the Niners. And so, therefore, I lose the week at 9-6. So that puts the standings at Jim leading at 67-40-1, and Steve and I both at 64-41-1.
Wow, how the tides have turned.
Yeah, it's a complete momentum shift in the picks competition, the battle for the beer stein of knowledge. So, going on to week 8, some interesting matchups. The games that we all agree on, we're all picking the Broncos to beat the Chargers, the Bucs over the Vikings, the Bills over the Jets, the Patriots over the Bears, the Seahawks over the Panthers, the Ravens over the Bengals, the Texans over the Titans, the Chiefs to beat the Rams, the Colts to beat the Steelers, the Browns to beat the Raiders, the Lions to beat the Falcons, and the Cowboys to beat the Redskins. There's only 3 games that we disagree on. Jim, you are off the hot seat for all of them.
Wow.
Steve-O, you got 2 and I got 1. We'll start, and I'm just going down in order, but so I'm not picking on you, but you're first, and you are picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Miami Dolphins. Why?
This one, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, the Dolphins should definitely win this game. But then I just can't have another week like we had last week where we agreed on all the same games. And I thought there was a shot, as minimal as it was, that Jacksonville will ride some kind of wave of emotion after their first victory, and they're playing at home. So I'm taking a complete out of left field shot in the dark here. I think it's a very slim chance that they can beat the Dolphins. I need to make up some ground. So that's the whole reasons why I'm picking this one.
Well, Steve, let me ask you, what aspect of the the Jaguars' offense or defense do you think might sort of be the edge that they need to beat the Dolphins?
Like I said, I think it's just a momentum thing. I think I think Bortles is showing improvement. I mean, mind you, he's still through 3 picks, but I think he's showing improvement. It looked like he's getting a little more comfortable with the offense. You know, the increased efficiency in the running game with what we already talked about with the last couple weeks. It just looks like they're starting to get a little bit of something going. I do believe the Dolphins have a superior team. You know, they're a little kind of iffy on which team shows up each week. Mind you, they've played a very tough schedule, and the games they lost, they were pretty close in all of them, and they were against, for the most part, good teams. So, I mean, it could go. All logic, the Dolphins are going to win this game, but I needed to take a shot. I need to try to catch up some ground.
All right, there you have it. Your expert analysis there.
Yep.
That's why you listen to this show, isn't it, folks?
That's right.
The other game, Steve, you're also on the hot seat for, is you are picking the Philadelphia Eagles to travel to the Arizona Cardinals and beat the Cardinals at home.
This was a tough game for me because I think they are both very good teams, and obviously both 5-1. The only reason I'm giving the Eagles the edge is they are coming off their bye week. They're rested. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for Arizona. And that offense, with a little bit of rest, I think is going to be very electric. And I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be pretty similar to the game that the Eagles had against Washington. But I think Philadelphia is, because of the rest and because of the fact that they do need to keep time with Dallas right now in that division, I think Philadelphia is going to be very hungry and ready for this game. That's why I'm picking the Eagles.
Now, that is what I'm talking about in terms of football analysis. When I looked at this game, I found it a difficult game to call. I viewed what you said, Steve, some of the things. I like the Eagles' defense, and they're making plays. Certainly they have a good offense, but what I like about the Cardinals is that they play to big games. They play to their opponents. They're 5-1, and more importantly, because I was so just evenly split on this, they win at home. They're 3-0 at home.
Yeah.
I like their chances of beating this team. I think it's potentially a high-scoring game, that's for sure. And I love the opportunities for all the playmakers on these teams.
Yeah, I think this is going to be out of this week, it's going to be one of the standout games. Like, I think it's going to be one of those